here, bro. Peace out.
In this city, and I think, there's already been so much time, effort put in by so many people that, aren't going to get credit for what they did to bring All-Star here. So, trying to make it the best All-Star the WNBA's ever had. I know we'll certainly do that, but also, it is certainly a cool.
Pay close attention to what's happening right now. Caitlin Clark just wrapped up her first full practice with Team USA in North Carolina, and something feels different. The movement looks cleaner. The pace looks easier. Even the way she talks about managing her body day by day carries a level of calm and confidence we didn't hear last summer. This isn't the worn-down rookie who walked into the league already running on fumes. This is a player who's had 3 full months to decompress, reset her body, and reconnect with who she was before that brutal first WNBA grind. And the clips coming out of this camp are quietly telling a story the league probably hoped no one would notice. She looks fresh, she looks settled. She looks comfortable again. That matters more than people realize. Last season, Caitlin never got a real runway. No off-season. No adjustment window. Just non-stop games, travel, media pressure, and defensive attention designed to wear her down. She survived a tan, still won Rookie of the Year, but it clearly took a toll. Now? You're seeing a different version. Her footwork is sharper. Her release is quicker, her confidence isn't forced, it's natural. Team USA isn't asking her to carry an offense or shoulder an entire league's expectations. She gets to play basketball, read the floor, pick her spots. And when that happens, the talent starts to breathe again. That's what should have the rest of the league paying attention. Because a rested, confident Caitlin Clark, one who's had time to heal, train, and mentally reset, is a very different problem than the exhausted rookie teams dealt with last year. And if these camp glimpses are any indication, she's trending back toward the player who dominated college basketball without hesitation. The scary part?
Hey, shooters, got. Bang. So right there, Caitlin's shot looked like it's back, y'all. I mean, she ain't even jumping for real. Now, I don't think this was a 3 either. Nope, it wasn't. This looked like a mid-range shot. But overall, her form looked great.
Look at that shooting motion right there. Smooth, fluid, effortless. That's the same natural release that made her untouchable in college. Even the commentator noticed it, saying, "This is the real Caitlin we remember, not the compromised version we saw last season." And here's the part nobody really wants to talk about. Before entering the league, Caitlin bulked up significantly. At the time, it made total sense. She knew the WNBA was going to be physical. She knew defenders were coming to punish her, to bump her off spots, to test her durability every single night. Adding muscle was about survival, but there was a trade-off. That extra mass subtly altered her mechanics. Her release became heavier. The shot that once flowed without thought started requiring effort. Her range wavered. Those logo threes that used to feel inevitable suddenly started hitting front rim or drifting long. It wasn't a confidence issue. It was a mechanical one. And now go back and watch this practice footage again. The difference jumps off the screen. Her motion is lighter. The lift is cleaner. The release snaps instead of pushes. This looks like a player whose body and shot are finally in sync again. Someone who's recalibrated, strong enough to handle contact, but not at the expense of her greatest weapon. That balance is everything for a shooter like Caitlin. Last season, she was fighting her own body while also fighting defenses designed to break her down. Now, she's shooting freely again. No hesitation. No compensation. Just rhythm. And when Caitlin Clark's mechanics are right, the math changes for everyone guarding her. Because that version doesn't miss twice from the same spot. That's why this footage matters. It's not just off-season clips. It's evidence that the player we saw dominate college basketball is re-emerging fully intact. If this shooting form holds, last season won't look like the beginning of something shaky.
But I'm just saying, bruh, when it comes to Sophie Cunningham, the people got her numbers, and they know that she's one of the ones, man. Now, with all of that being said, we ain't gonna waste no time, man. We're gonna head on over to the WNBA Twitter account, because I almost was trying to make a video about this, because the WNBA, I don't know what, like, they just been posting these clips of Team USA, and they really haven't been posting Caitlyn. I just got to be honest. So this was the clip right here that just...
Sophie Cunningham finished the year ranked 8th on the list of most searched athletes. Let that sink in. She was the only WNBA player to make the entire list. One analyst is now on record saying Sophie is the second biggest name in the league behind Caitlin Clark. And before the pushback starts, let's stay grounded in facts. Search data doesn't care about opinions. Social metrics don't respond to feelings. Attention is measurable and Sophie generates it. She creates buzz, fuels debate, and drives conversation at a level most players in this league simply don't reach. Love her or hate her, she moves the needle. But here's where things get complicated. Sources around Indiana say Fever fans weren't exactly warming up to Sophie last season. Her aggressive style, the heated exchanges, the edge she brought into matchups with Caitlyn. What started as competitive fire slowly turned into visible tension, and it played out in front of everyone. That dynamic didn't stay subtle. It became a storyline. One that fans noticed, reacted to, and didn't forget. And that's the uncomfortable truth the league has to reckon with. Attention cuts both ways. Sophie's visibility is real. Her impact on conversation is undeniable. But how that energy lands, especially with a fan base fiercely protective of its franchise player, can shift quickly. This isn't about talent. It's about perception, narrative, and momentum. And right now, that relationship feels unresolved, unfinished, and very much worth watching.
What do you feel like is a positive thing for Johnson?
A positive what? Sorry. Trait. I think just adversity in itself. Nobody said this season was going to be perfect for us. There's always going to be ups and downs. And, I think as we get moving here and get to All-Star, then get through All-Star, these are the moments that we're going to look back on and hopefully be able to, give a lot of credit to for certain situations that we were put in, for, injuries or, coach it not being here for a couple games too. Everybody's been through a little bit of adversity here. So, I think just giving our group credit for being able to stick together and, know that whatever's in our locker room is really all we need to go out there and win. And honestly, just really proud of our group every single day.
Listen closely to how Caitlyn frames adversity in that response. She credits her teammates for staying together through injuries, coaching absences, and constant on-the-fly adjustments. It's all about resilience and unity, but pay attention to what she leaves out. There's no mention of the media storm. No reference to the non-stop debates over race, recognition, or the off-court narratives that had nothing to do with basketball. Not a single acknowledgement that her rookie season became a cultural battleground instead of just a year of learning the league. That's textbook media control. Stay positive. Put the spotlight on the team. Keep the focus on the game. Avoid every possible trap. It's a smart, polished approach, no question. But it also reveals how carefully she has to measure every word she says in public, and that's exhausting. That level of self-censorship is a mental burden no first-year player should be carrying, especially while learning a new system, adjusting to a faster and more physical level of competition, and facing defenders who spent the entire off-season studying every detail of her game.
Well, I'm telling you right now, this weekend was pretty decent, man. Caitlin Clark returned back to the basketball court, and I'm telling you right now, from the little snippets of clips we was able to see, she looked like her old self again, man. They didn't spill too much of the beans that was going on with her online, but there has been a bunch of footage coming out. Now, Sue Bird spoke to the media yesterday. A couple of other coaches did, but y'all already know what we hear. We here to see CC, man. Now, there was some news that came out about Angel Reese and stuff, but we ain't really too much tripping off that. Now, someone I have not seen them post yet is Stephanie White. It's almost like Stephanie White is non-existent for this Team USA. Now, I know she's one of the coaches. I don't believe she spoke to the media, which is crazy to me because Stephanie White was on a whole media run last year. This year, I think she did maybe a couple interviews, but overall, she's been kind of silent. I don't know what that's all about.
Day to day. That's the phrase Caitlin Clark keeps using when asked about her physical status. She's working closely with the medical staff, focused on staying ready for whatever comes next. Her priority is simple: availability. But the context behind that answer matters. Caitlin logged more minutes than anyone else in the WNBA during her rookie season. She carried an offensive workload that would have worn down a 10-year veteran. Night after night, She absorbed constant physical punishment, much of it ignored by officials, while also being the most scrutinized athlete in women's sports. Every shot, every comment, every reaction was magnified, so when she says she's managing her body day to day, she's really acknowledging the cost of that rookie year. The physical toll was real. The exhaustion was real. And now she's approaching recovery with intelligence, prioritizing maintenance, listening to her body, and thinking long-term instead of pushing through everything. That's growth. That's experience turning into wisdom. And it's exactly the kind of evolution that separates short-lived hype from players who sustain excellence for a decade or more.
Before we get to WNBA, Caitlin Clark looked like her. Boom. Pass. Pace hit her shot. Bang. So right there, Caitlin's shot looked like his back, y'all. I mean, she ain't even jumping for real. Now, I don't think this was a three either. Nope, it wasn't. This looked like a mid.
Check out that release point. See how effortless the entire motion looks. The commentator keeps coming back to the same detail for a reason. This is college Caitlin again, the shooter who never hesitated, who could rise up from anywhere on the floor and trust her mechanics completely. And that's the real signal for next season. If Caitlin comes back with that original shooting touch fully restored, if she's had time to adjust to the speed and physicality of the pro game without sacrificing her offensive identity, if she's learned how to move through the media storm and cultural pressure that followed her everywhere last year, then the league is about to see what she actually looks like when she's no longer fighting her own mechanics. Because that rookie season was remarkable despite everything stacked against her. Rookie of the Year with no real adjustment window, an all-star while completely exhausted, a playoff appearance in the middle of non-stop chaos. Now imagine the version of Caitlin who's settled. Shots falling consistently, no longer carrying the entire offense alone, a full training camp under Stephanie White, with an actual system designed around what Caitlin does best. That's the Caitlin Clark this league should truly be worried about, not the overwhelmed first-year player from last season, but the poised, efficient, relentless scorer who's had time to rediscover who she is. This Team USA footage gives us flashes of that player. The quick release is back. The confidence is back. The joy of playing without the weight of carrying an entire movement is starting to show again. That's why the coming months matter so much. Caitlin finally has space to train without nightly game pressure. Time to build conditioning without a grinding schedule. Room to break down film, refine her reads, and come back stronger and sharper. Meanwhile, the WNBA is still reckoning with how it handled the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. Last season brought record ratings, massive attention, and a brand new audience that didn't fit the league's traditional mold. And the league clearly struggled. Questionable marketing decisions, inconsistent protection on the court, awkward attempts to balance her stardom with a desire to elevate everyone equally. But reality doesn't care about intentions. Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the WNBA right now. Not just because she might be the best, though she's absolutely in that conversation, but because she commands attention. She brings casual fans. She moves numbers. She changes the scale of the league. And if the WNBA keeps minimizing that, diluting the focus, or hesitating to fully embrace her impact, they're wasting the biggest opportunity women's basketball has ever had. The fact that Sophie Cunningham is the only other WNBA name consistently generating mainstream buzz says everything. 2 players out of an entire league are breaking through to the broader sports audience. That's not a problem. That's a blueprint. Star power is not distributed equally, and it never has been. You don't apologize for it, you lead with it. You let stars lift everyone else. That's how you build a lasting fan base. The NBA understood this with Jordan. With LeBron. With Curry. They leaned in, promoted it relentlessly, and built a global brand around their biggest names. The WNBA has that same opportunity sitting right in front of them. Caitlin Clark and yes, Sophie Cunningham too are handing the league the playbook. The only question is whether the league has the vision to execute it. So here's what really matters heading into next season. Will the WNBA finally market Caitlin at the level she's earned? Will Stephanie White design an offense that amplifies her strengths instead of forcing conformity? Will officials protect her from physical play that would be a flagrant call on anyone else? And most importantly, will Caitlin return with that Iowa swagger fully intact, ready to remind everyone why she dominated college basketball like no one before her? If those answers are yes, next season won't just be good, it'll be transformative. Ratings will explode. Attendance will spike everywhere. And the league will be forced to confront the reality that it's been handed a generational talent capable of reshaping its entire trajectory. This Team USA footage is just the preview. The real story begins when the season tips off and we find out whether the right lessons were actually learned.